tonnage of the,
Gary, the people in
hold on a second,
Israel.
David,
Yeah.
with all the tonnage of that U.S. attack, the Iranians are reporting 0 casualties. 0. So what's the problem? I don't understand why people are objecting so much to what the United States and what Israel did. Okay, David, go ahead.
They just see the world from the pinhole. People in 80% of Iranian now are printing Donald Trump picture and put it on the street and say thank you very much. And people in Israel are decorating with big American flag and so on. But another big picture is if Netanyahu do not act and he understood, and if the threat of nuclear weapon is real, and then there will be a major setback back to before 1948, and the people, Jewish everywhere, have to start during Sabbath and say next year in Jerusalem. And this decision prevented that. It's a new future. Thank you very much, Gary.
I suspect that there will be asymmetric attacks against Iran in the future. So fasten your seatbelt. David.
Hey, Gary. Another great day in the forum. I don't know. I don't think Washington is. I think Trump would like more than anything to fool himself into thinking that this attack wiped everything out, brought everybody to the table. Everybody shook hands, and now I'm on my way to a Nobel Peace Prize. I think he's lashing out with regard to Netanyahu potentially undermining this big grand peace deal that he cut. He's been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize by Pakistan. Obviously, there's been some disagreement as to whether or not he was really involved in that in a way that he was, particularly coming on the Indian side. But I think at the end of the day, if we look at the reports and we look at the feedback, Israel's ambassador to the UN says it's too early to tell. This has been reported that we've wiped out their nuclear. I think Israel has to be cautious. They have to trust but verify, and verify a lot. And the only way you're going to verify is to have Iran open up its doors, bring in those inspectors, and look at the damage, and and they need to cough up this other enriched uranium that's who knows where. And a lot of the uranium, by the way, Gary, that was enriched is in these canisters that are very difficult to destroy. And so, if they can get those out, there's a lot of that that's also to be accounted for. So I think at the end of the day, while Trump wants the optics of a huge peace win to add to his other accolades of peace negotiation from the Abraham Accords forward, we need to bring Iran into the sunlight. And I don't think we can speculate based upon some bombs, based upon Iranians taking over the airspace, which many have argued is, questionable or not. But you're right. There are ballistic missiles that Iran can still mass an array against Israel, as well as the enemies of America. So, what does the United States do in the interim? I think at the end of the day, we need to somehow bring them to the table again and put together that JCPOA deal, but with a lot more teeth that Obama had structured. Because without the inspection, Gary, I think this is a hollow victory. And without the powers that be, where is the Ayatollah? Has he surfaced? I mean, we don't even know where this guy is. So, what is happening behind the scenes? We've seen incursions by China into the fray, and what's going on with those back channelings. Putin's entered into a 20-year agreement, economic agreement with Iran, although they're saying it's not militarily based. How can it not be? So there's a lot of moving parts here, Gary. I think the Israelis have a right to be cautious. I think irrespective of Trump's desire for a Nobel, I think he's going to have to, put that aside until we actually get the job. And I think the only way we get the job done is to put boots on the ground, not actual troops, but the monitors of the program, and have an accounting of where those other rich uranium deposits are. And of course, any other intelligence that can be gathered to make the area a lot safer. Otherwise, Gary, I think it's just that. It's a hollow victory. And of course, I think he was also upset as well because he's got this rabid right-wing base out there on the talk show circuit, completely challenging our right to defend Israel, completely challenging our right to be involved this way. And a lot of those voices aren't going away, Gary, I'm afraid to say. And whether or not they play into the 2026 midterms, I think that's going to have a lot of import going forward. And I'll end there. Thanks.
David, what is the temperature in sunny California?
Well, we've got some beautiful balmy trade winds, about 75 today, I believe.
In central New Jersey, from where I'm emanating, 102. We beat out Death Valley. 102.
And drink a lot of water, man.
Oh, I know. I gotta walk out the door into a blast furnace to get to work. Ay. Dominic.
It's very So,
aren't you sitting on the dock in the bay, though? What? Aren't you? No, I know you. I know where you are. Don't think you can escape me, buddy. I know exactly.
So, there was so much of this, so much of the is tainted by sort of a dislike for Donald Trump, and I appreciate that. I want to talk about this notion of credibility.
This is the latest
Because a number of people
blood pressure
brought
and
up,
oxygen
if you
measurement
say
device
this
developed
with
by St. Thomas
credibility and
Hospital in
whatnot,
London.
I
Simply
was
click
just
it onto
thinking
your
back
phone.
to
Can y'all please pretend I'm famous? I
claimed by the government, capital G, that a newly elected president was a spy for Russia, and that he should be impeached for that. I was wondering, who retains credibility from that episode?
Well, first of all, I don't know that was a claim from the government.
Well, obviously,
There were some elements of the government.
elements, excuse me.
And secondly, what does that have to do with today's discussion?
No, but it has to do with credibility, which is part of today's discussion. So I just wanted to make that point to get everyone off their high horse, if you will.
Well, this is a problem that we have in our discourse here on the stage, because I cannot criticize the current president, whoever that president may be, now or in the future, no matter what party that president is a member of, because if the next president is a Democrat, if he does anything that is deserving of critique, somebody's going to come up on the stage and say, well, what about what Donald Trump did? Donald Trump was much worse. So I think we have to, at the moment in hand, take a snapshot and not a panoramic view of history and look at what's going on today, because these are very serious matters at hand. So whether a person's motivation is political or not, if the criticism is legitimate, we should accept the criticism. If it's not legitimate, then we should challenge it. I don't care what their motivation is, so long as the person is.
If we get to the point that we say that the use of the word obliterate was quoted contextually, we don't have time to do this, because I wanted to get the text of the president's comment and list it against what the claim is of what he said. And there is a distinction between the two. and we could do it at another time. But the claim that he said that the program was obliterated is not true. He didn't say that. But I understand that for the purposes of argumentation, that saying that he said that creates a dialogue and a need for argumentation. But the president didn't say that. So it's sort of like nobody said that. You did say it, Gary. I wonder if it is relevant. The way George Bush said, "Mission accomplished." Remember that?
Yep.
And we said, "Oh, that sounds like George Bush." What President Trump said. Contextually, it's just not true. The two are completely distinct because Trump did not make the claim that the program was obliterated. But I just, so much has been said that I'm having a hard time being concise in my criticism. I do want to say that I agree with Anson's earlier comments, which is like
Okay, in fairness,
Yeah.
he did not say the entire program was obliterated.
Thank you.
He said that the U.S. strikes had completely and totally obliterated Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities.
Key nuclear enrichment sites.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, but okay,
I'm done.
fine. So let's be nuanced.
I'm done.
No, you're not done. You're far from done. No. We're not going to allow for hit and runs here, buddy.
Okay.
No. So the question then today, in absolute fairness to what the president said, was, were those key nuclear enrichment facilities obliterated? And the DIA, hold on, let me finish before you respond to me. And the DIA today said that while the strikes inflicted serious damage, that the program was not destroyed.
Okay, I'm going to quote you right now.
Oh.
You just said that the program was not destroyed. You did not
For
say.
F's sake, to quote the President of the United States.
Oh, okay.
The program at those three facilities, because obviously the United States attacked three facilities. So let me say it in terms that is acceptable to Dominic. The program at those three facilities. Are you happy now?
Why don't we just say the key of what the president said? Why don't we just quote the president?
Right, and the question does not change. The question does not change even if people were not as specific in their quotation of the president. So if you want to make this a discussion of how people interpret what the president said and how it's not fair the way they interpret it, then fine. You could do that. But that's not the discussion. The discussion is he came out hours after the attack and said that the program was obliterated at those three locations. And the next morning, the chairman of the Chief Joints of Staff was more tempered in his response and said, we don't know if that's true. And now that we see that the Defense Intelligence Agency says that the initial assessment is that the president was wrong. Those three key facilities were not obliterated. So why don't we just focus on that, please?
Okay. So thank you for that, for engaging me in that, I appreciate it. Otherwise, I'm just going to say thanks to me. I appreciate it. Love you.
I love debating with Dominic. Rooster.
I'd say it was your manifest destiny not to.
To
Rolling up
answer
for big boy
the question
there,
you
how
talked
it used to
about
go
is the
into
U.S.
plant when and
washing
which
its hands of the Iranian threat. I say that's not the right or fair question. And the reason I say that is because the U.S. has never in this war This was Bibi's war. He has been saying since 1996 that Iran is months away from getting a bomb. And I'm not denying that this time he may or may not be right, but he's been saying that since 1996. The fact is that Trump did not want Israel to attack. He was trying to negotiate. The U.S. public, as we know, both the Democrats and the MAGA base have no appetite for another prolonged Middle Eastern war. He wanted to negotiate, get a big, beautiful deal, and brag about it. He was under pressure from Bibi. And really, from the reporting I've read, he gave up when he realized the Iranian side, the Ayatollah, was playing games. So from one side, from the allies and from many forces in the U.S., he was under pressure. Other side, he realized his Iranian counterparts were playing game and really not willing to give up the enrichment. He reluctantly said okay to the war. Again, at that point, I don't think he wanted U.S. to participate. I would suggest he reluctantly dropped the bomb, dropped the bunker busting bombs, and at that moment it looked like a success. He dropped the bomb, it's over, the nuclear program is gone. Turns out that may not be the case. But I suggest the better question we should ask is that should the U.S. Wash its hands off the Iranian threat? And personally, I say no. The elephant in the room that is not discussed is the regime, and the word I never hear is regime change. As Hansen earlier suggests that they can enrich in a closet. They can always have a secret program. And the fact is that the bomb is not the only threat from this regime. There's ballistic missiles, there's terrorism around the world, there's the proxies,